The second game of the finals between NL and IGO.
Now they have swapped sides at the moment. As we saw, Victor was just putting out so much damage. So, might expect a Victor ban here, but you can IGO team, they banned the Zillion. They don't want Zillion being played at all. And Ken is banned again. Now, with this, they could go for a similar team comp. Both teams were very good, but the problem was, when they were split up and when they were getting caught out, that Victor, he needed to be there for every fight. If he was not there for every fight,
they were losing.
Yeah, it was very hard for them because he had most of their gold. They might have had a bit of an analysis during the break. They might have thought about, possibly splitting out the kills towards all the teammates so that, the whole team's stronger, not just one person. But at the same time, you could see that Victor having all the kills was a good thing in some ways because he was just able to burst out of nowhere.
Like the moment a fight happened, he was just like, boom, and people were dead.
But yeah, as we can also see, both teams, they do play a good Lee Sin. So we're going to see if either team gets to pick up Lee Sin again.
Yep. Banned the Jace this time as well.
Yeah, so you see the Jace ban, he did get some good Qs off through his gate. Half health in the Karma, half health in the Dilution, forcing them to go back, not being able to engage.
And nearly half healthing the Victor in one shot as well.
Exactly right. And it's also things just like the Baron, being able to set up around Baron, being able to have good, control over Baron. It's one thing that Vayne does very well is Vayne can take Baron very well. She can take the Dragon very well. But unfortunately they're not. And now, as we can see here from the blue team, which is IGO, they did pick Lee Sin first. They're taking that away from NL. They don't want it, but instead of banning it, they take it for themselves. And because they play a good Lee Sin, this could be very good. At the moment, I want to see what the red team picks for their jungler. Will it be Gragas? They're taking his pick. That is NL's pick. They pick that every game, NL Ace, and they've gone through the tournament, and it's just helped them so much. But we're just going to have to see how this plays out. They're probably going to see what comes on IGO's team first before picking a jungler. But we can already see, they're sort of just picking through champions of what they want, or they're trying to throw the enemy off. We're not really sure.
They're throwing me off. So, they've got Rise.
Yeah, so they do have the Rise. He could be top, but we also know, those Rise ultimates can be very, very good. So it just depends what happens throughout that. The Orianna picks here again. We know Orianna's been very strong. She's been doing very well in this tournament.
Yeah, she's been.
Especially in the matchup we saw earlier between two different teams where they had the Orianna versus the Rise. The Orianna just did really well. She just did very strong. And, depending on how it goes, it just depends how this Rise uses his ultimate. Is he going to use it to disengage? Is he going to use it to engage? And then also how the Orianna plays with her ultimate. Will she bowl the Lee Sin? Will she bowl the Alistair? Because, if she bowls the wrong person and then goes to ult and it misses, it could be very devastating for their team because they lose a lot of their pressure from that. But at the same time, if she gets off a solid ultimate with 3 to 5 people, it's going to be very, very hard for NL to deal with.
That's it.
Now also for NL, you look at their bot lane, they've got the Ezreal, they've got the Karma. They're both very, very strong poke picks. So they are going to be able to have possibly a pretty good lane phase against the Jhin. When Jin's got that last bullet, they can sit back, they can not get crit by it, and they can just poke with Q.
Yep.
Now we're just waiting for the rest of the team to fill out.
The final pick.
We want to see who's going for their top lane, because it most likely will be an Alistair support. However, it could be an Alistair top lane, we just have to wait and see.
We have seen quite a lot of Alistair supports though.
We have, and it looks like apparently maybe a Kayle top. So yeah, it looks like they're going to have a Kayle top, but is she going to take Ignite or will she swap to Teleport? And what is the enemy team going to do? Are they going to place that Rise in top lane? Are they going to place him in mid lane? Because, it is Orianna, and from what we've seen, Orianna's done very well against Rise.
And are they going to pick something that counters one of the other players as well?
Because something to keep in mind is, Kayle does have her shield, her ultimate. It is very strong. And they picked the Zac. So the Zac is going to be their jungler, most likely, or it could be Zac top. But either way, one thing to keep in mind with the Rise is because he has his snare, he sets up ganks very well.
He does.
And because of that, with using his snare to set up ganks, it works very well on Orianna because, she can't get out, she doesn't have any escapes. Neither does Kayle, but the problem is Kayle has her ultimate, so Kayle might be able to sort of work her way around it.
And it looks like they swapped out the Zac for a Nautilus instead.
Yeah. So if most likely going to be a Nautilus top lane,
Yeah.
which we've seen as well is very strong.
Yeah,
They're probably going to swap with the Ryze and the Nautilus. And as we're seeing here to wait,
It's going to be an Alistair support, as
Yep.
we predicted.
and it looks like Ryze will be going mid against Orianna. If he saves his flash, saves his ghost, is able to get in, use his snare, Orianna's going to be in a lot of trouble here. And then as well, just the plays that Ryze can set up, because when they're unorganized, he can ult to get the rest of his teammates in.
Yeah, that's it, straight away. So whereas when the other team's coming in for a group, if his team's a little scattered, he can ult his team straight into that and jump into that team.
Exactly right. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a little bit of discussion about the team comps, like what you reckon.
Yeah.
So, if you look at it, the Kayle ult is going to be very, very strong, depending on who she uses on.
Yeah.
If she uses on the Jhin, if Jhin does manage to get an early lead, we know how well he scales with AD. He is so strong. His ultimate can be used for picks. It can be used to get kills that are escaping.
That is true.
If he can't get into the fight, he can still ult, and it works very well.
Yeah.
So, the ult on him is very, very, very strong. At the same time, an ult on Lee Sin, who goes all the way in, is fine. You wouldn't need an ult on Alistair because he has his own ult, but at the same time, using it for him to soak up damage if NL makes a mistake and focuses Alistair, also strong. And at the same time, Kayle herself is just such a strong champion.
that's it.
She has a very, very strong, level 1 to 3, and then from there, mid game, she's always relevant, and she's always relevant late game as well. If she farms up and she gets ahead, she can be a monster and do really well.
Yeah, and as we've seen from both teams, the Lee Sin that's been played on either side has always done heaps of damage.
Yeah.
So they've just been using him heaps to make plays, to set up plays, and just to deal so much damage
Exactly
onto
right.
other champions.
All right, so as we wait to get into the game, we're just going to take a quick little break. We'll be back. All right, and we're back. So now we're in the loading screen. We can take a look at what have. So if we look at the keystones, Kayle's got Fervor, and although it's not as good on her as it used to be, you still do get that extra AD on her. You don't get the extra bonus damage on hit, it's just AD. But that does work really well because she is hybrid. Jin's going for Deathfire Touch. He wants to deal a lot of damage, get those stragglers.
Same thing with Orianna and her Thunderlord. She's just gone straight in with full damage.
Yeah, exactly right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to see how this plays out. Are they going to go for an invade? Are they just going to play passively? Now, last game, they were considering going for something, and then
we ended up seeing a pretty standard jungle.
Exactly right. Now, as well, because the fact that IGO took NL's main pick, which was Lee Sin, what are they going to do with that? Are they going to go for an aggressive Lee Sin start? Are they not? It looks like NL are going to go for an invade, but they get seen by the Lee Sin Q, and Orion comes around, but they don't care. They're just going to go in, and Ryze activates the Ghost, gets the snare, so they're going for the early invade skills. Ryze did start snare, did use Ghost. Unfortunately
missed his pull though.
Now, if you look at what they've traded there, Lee Sin loses his flash, Gragas loses his flash, and then also Ryze loses his ghost. So in terms of how favourable that was for everyone, it was more in favour for IGO actually. And on top of that as well, it also means that Ryze has to start W, which isn't comfortable for him. Especially against Orianna, he wants to try to, save his mana, and having W early isn't the best thing for him. But in terms of invading, it did help him. It did force the flash, which, if he didn't have, it would have been all for nothing. But it looks like they're just going to go standard right now.
I reckon they're just going to go standard. So I reckon that initial invade was just to see if they could catch them off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
But I reckon IGO, they kept well on their toes and managed to keep safe and make sure nothing happened.
Exactly right. Now, the thing as well to keep in mind is the fact that Lee Sin for IGO is starting at blue buff, which means he's going to go blue, most likely either do a full clear or go straight to red, and then try to gank bot, but it does look like he's going for a full clear, so he wants to have the red buff for as long as he can. Now, Kayle's coming up against Nautilus, and this could go either way, because, Nautilus, as a tank, deals a surprising amount of damage. He doesn't need to build damage, but his base damages are just very high.
Yeah, they are very high.
And on top of that as well, because of the fact that early game, Kayle has no escapes, she has a slow and a speed up. If Nautilus does manage to get a hook on her and then auto her with his passive, if Lee Sin wants to, sorry, not Lee Sin, if Gragas wants to come up and do something, they might be able to get a kill, but at the same time, they're two tanks, so it depends on how Gragas builds.
So we can see that the
Oh, and there goes Ezreal's flash,
Yeah, that was
avoiding
really
the
good.
Alistair Q. Now, they do pay their flash for that, but at the same time, you can see the IGO are taking a bit of damage in the bot lane.
Yeah, they were.
The poke is very strong. Now, whether or not that flash was worth it, I would say it was, because, he does get to save a lot of health from that.
Yeah, especially because Alistar deals a lot of damage early game.
Exactly right. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the fact that Jhin is at half of his mana. Now, Jhin to deal damage, doesn't need to use his spells. However, Karma is at less than 50% of her mana. And unless she's auto-attacking the enemy champions for her passive, she's not going to get that mana back.
Yeah.
It is going to be very hard. But Lee Sin's waiting bot. He's trying to get ready. And
Oh,
the flash
flash
coming from
Q.
Alistair, trying to get the knockback, did not work, unfortunately, for the Ezreal shift. Now, Ezreal does get some poke back.
That was worth.
Now, another thing as well is it's going to be pretty hard for this Alistair to go in on the Ezreal because of the fact that Ezreal has a shift.
Yeah.
On the Karma, it might be a different story, but, they're trying to get that early lead, but will it put them far behind? Because Gragas, it is only 6 CS, but it's 6 jungle CS, and he is ahead. Lee Sin doesn't want to drop off early. He's trying to make plays early to try and get something out. He doesn't have his flash, though, is something to keep in mind.
The bot lane's been pretty steady. Like, neither side has pushed too far ahead.
Exactly right. And also, top lane at the moment is meant to be a bit of a farm lane, but the thing to keep in mind, although Nautilus has used 2 of his corrupting potions, he is ahead in CS, which,
Taking a lot of poke damage there.
if Nautilus can stay far in CS, stay ahead, get tankies to a point where Kayle can't kill him, he might be able to bully Kayle out of lane, and in that case, that's going to be very hard for Kayle to come back with.
Yep.
They don't have a tank other than Alistair, unless Lee Sin decides to go full tank. But at the same time, Alistair's the support, so they're going for a lot more damage-heavy sort of build, whereas if you look at NL, they've got the Karma, who will probably go slightly tankish.
Yep.
You've got the Nautilus is going to go tank, you've got Gragas is going to go tank. Depending on whether or not Ryze wants to go for the late game build. They do get the knock-up and the snare on the Karma, and in comes Lee Sin.
There's the exhaust.
Does not get anything though, unfortunately. They do back
exhaust
out, but Lee Sin might go
Lee
down
Sin
here.
might go down.
He does have the red buff, and Ezreal does get a
gets
kill.
first
And
blood.
even more important is Ezreal actually picks up the red buff, which applies on his Q, so they're going to have such strong lane dominance now.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fact that they're a poke lane, this is very, very, very important for them. Now, Lee Sin going down as well, losing that early pressure as Lee Sin is really bad.
Yep.
Nautilus is getting bullied here, but he does have teleport. He can come back. He is 10 CS ahead as well.
Yeah. Going back to the bot lane, IGO is definitely in a lot of trouble now after that one play. So.
Exactly right. Another thing to keep in mind with the Kayle, what kind of build is she going to go? Is she going to go the full attack speed build where, you go into things like Ginsu's, you go into things like Wit's End, you can push towers amazingly fast, you're good at dueling as well. Is she going to go that sort of, AP build where, it's not as common, but it can be very strong for the supporting type. You have the heals, which are very strong. You have your Q, which is very strong. And you still do decent damage. You get like a Nash's Tooth, and you go more AP focused. It's something that she's probably going to be keeping in mind at the moment. But as we can see, it's all like acting pretty standard at the moment, except for that bot lane. That was huge for Ezreal.
Yeah, that was.
Getting that red buff, if he applies it well, will propel him so far into mid-game before it's even there.
So just other than the Ezreal and Karma combo, which we know is a heavy poke combo, what are your thoughts on the Alistar and Jhin combo?
I think it's good, but the problem is because of the fact that Karma and Ezreal got ahead early, it's not going to be too effective because, Alistair is very good at helping Jhin because Jhin is a mobile. Jhin can't really, get out of a tough situation. Alistair can knock them away, can knock them up, while Jin's pumping out that huge damage. But that only applies if Jhin is able to get that huge damage.
That's it.
And as we can see at the moment, Ezreal got that kill early, and he's decided to go for a tier. Not something that's uncommon on Ezreal, but the thing is, he's gone for the tier early, whereas Jin's able to just go straight for a BF. So Jhin, in the early game, will actually probably deal more damage as long as Jhin sits behind minions, doesn't get poked down too much.
Get poked down, that's it.
Another thing that a lot of Jhin players do as well is they like to go
I
mid.
think they're gonna go around.
When they're behind, they go in the mid lane and they try to use their ult to get a pick on the mid laner. And Ryze, as someone with no escapes, might actually get caught out by that if they decide to go that route. Now, Jin is getting poked down very hard. He needs to sit behind those minions, or it's going to keep happening. And also, Nautilus is taking a little bit of poke, but unfortunately for the Kayle, you know, the fact that he has such tankiness, the fact that his shield is so huge if he decides to max it, because that is probably a smart idea for Nautilus, to max his shield. You know, he won't take much damage, farm, let his team do the work, just keep up in CS. And as well, Kayle hasn't gone back to buy items. Nautilus have. Nautilus has a Spear Cow.
He has the item.
Spectre's Cow, sorry. But yeah, he's got a Spectre's Cow, whereas all that the Kayle has is a Doran's Ring and 2 potions.
Nautilus dealing some damage.
Yeah, she is dealing damage, but the thing is, she's lower mana, and Nautilus goes in trying to deal some extra damage, trying to get him out. The Courage of the Colossus acting as a huge shield. Now, once Kayle goes back, Nautilus has the option to go back as well, and so it's Kayle has to use her backs at the right times here, or she's going to fall behind. She's already behind now, and she's letting Nautilus push into her tower, so she can't back. And he's playing very well in terms of that. So as it stands, it looks like NL will be able to get decent gold in the top lane against IGO. And if we look at the gold difference now, it's about 1k gold difference. That is to do with the kills. If you look at the CS, you know, it's pretty similar except for that top lane. You know, Lee Sin does have 8 more CS than Gragas, and at the same time, the Orianna has 13 less CS. So, you know, if you look at it, it's all pretty similar except for the Rise and the Nautilus. But the fact is, Kayle needs to go back. She needs to get those items. Now is a perfect time while Nautilus is gone, but she wants to push that wave. Hopefully she can get back in time as the wave resets, because if she doesn't, she's going to miss out on more than she's gaining by pushing that.
Yeah. Bot lane has definitely pushed Jin and Alistar back quite a lot now. And I reckon Jin and Alistar are slowly starting to feel the pinch.
Yeah.
From NL. So, see how they go.
Now, we can also see the difference in terms of jungling, where Lee Sin has... They've both gone for the poacher's knife. You know, they want to get that vision. They've got a lot of communication, so vision is very important. However, Lee Sin's decided to upgrade his boots into the Ionian boots, you know, to get that extra CDR.
Yeah.
At the same time, Gragas has decided to not do that, and he's going to get further ahead in terms of his item build. Now, how this plays out will obviously show the longer the game goes on, but Lee Sin really needs to start doing something before he falls behind.
That's it.
And as you can see, Nautilus is so tanky because of how he's been able to push. He's 15 CS up, and if you look at the gold lead, you know, he does only have 250 gold more than the Kayle, but at the fact that he's also backed earlier, it's helped him a lot more.
Yeah. Haven't seen too much stuff from the junglers as of yet.
But as we can see, Gragas might be getting ready to do something. He realizes he can't though, so he backs out. As you see, Lee Sin's heading around bot. There are a few pings happening around mid and bot. Gragas is actually going down bot to try and do something, but it appears that Lee Sin's getting ready to counter.
To counter that.
But at the same time, you know, top lane is just, it's very hard for Kayle. It's very hard for this Kayle to try to do something. She needs to get those kills so she can snowball, but she can't get those kills, so she's just going to need to focus on farming, which is still hard when you've got a big Nautilus sitting in the middle, able to stop you.
Basically just a giant wall just standing there.
Exactly right.
Nautilus coming back. And he just watered.
Now, as you can see,
Jin's shooting off quite a few pokes of his own, but
unfortunately, Alistair just has to sort of sit back.
yeah,
He can't
really do much against those two champions.
if he goes in to engage, you know, the Jin has to follow up, but the problem is by Jin following up, he's getting put in an awkward position, and if he decides to get turned on and get focused on, you know, he is going to be in a bit of trouble here.
That's exactly right.
But
the skins that they've got.
The good thing to keep in mind, though, is the fact that, you know, this Jin, he's staying high in CS. Ezreal did get that early red buff. Ezreal and Karma do have that poke against him, but he's still ahead in CS, even though it is only 1. You know, he's still staying ahead. But once Ezreal gets his tier stacked and does something with it, you know, things might change.
Yeah, that's it.
So he is continuing to take poke,
What do you
though.
reckon Jin's first item is going to be?
It depends. It really does depend on how he wants to build, you know. He's got the...
Thinking IE?
Well, he's got the Bloodthirst... I'm sorry, not the Bloodthirst. The BF sword. So it depends on if he wants to go, you know, something like... because with the new items that's come out, you know, he could pick up one of those and potentially play Jin a little bit different, depending on the matchup, you know. At the same time, it's a bit hard to say because, you know, against an Ezreal and Karma, he can deal a lot of damage if he wants to get something very damage focused, but at the same time, you know, Ezreal's playing with a tier, so he's got to keep that in mind. He's got to realize Ezreal's going to scale. So does he want to scale and like pick up something for later on in the game, or does he want to pick up something that's just going to give him a huge power spike early?
Comes in.
Now, unfortunately, Kayle just can't get through the Courage of the Colossus and Nautilus shield.
A lot of damage. She's getting a little bit low. She doesn't have as much mana as she had earlier.
Exactly right.
And they're both gonna back.
And unfortunately as well, just the amount of shielding that Nautilus gets from the Courage of the Colossus, from the fact that he has his W, is just, it's so high, and his W scales with how much health he has. So if he just keeps building health, you know, Kayle's going to find it very hard. She's only going to be able to pick up stuff when she roams, but she has caught back up in CS very well, you know.
Yeah.
She's got her Nash's Tooth, she gets that wave clear from her E, and it's going to allow her to sort of transition into the mid game if she continues up to farm.
So with her Nash's Tooth, I think we're looking at a slightly faster Kayle build than like say an AP kind of build.
Yeah. So now they're trying to get this Wind Dragon for the blue team. However, you know, NL's jungler is there. He is ready. He's getting ready to do something. Ace wants to try to, you know, steal this, and he does. He does. And this is not the first time he's done this. It's not the second time he's done this. But you can see Ryze is getting like all in on by the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin ults him away, unfortunately. And Nautilus is just trying to zone the ADC. He's probably not going to be able to get anything, but he just wants to zone. As Gragas goes in, he might be able to pick up a kill.
All the damage.
Unfortunately, Lee Sin gets away. But the ult picks up the kill. That was very nice. Now, will they be able to get something on this Alistair? It looks like they will. And that's 3 kills for NL. That's 2 kills for NL.
Yeah, they picked up 2 kills in that fight, and they didn't lose a single person.
Now, that's not the first time we've
Dragon as
saw.
well.
Exactly right. That's not the first time we've seen Ace from NL, you know, come in and do a steal. He's done Baron steals as Lee Sin.
Yeah,
He's
Lee
done
Sin, that was
Dragon
a good
steals. But, you know, he's not able to pick his champion of Lee Sin. But the good thing is, he's picked another champ that has a similar kit. Someone with a knockback. Someone who can go over walls. Yeah, exactly right. Like, he knows I can go over this wall and steal. And that's one thing he must have practiced a lot, because he's very good at. The 3 times that we've seen him try to do it, he's done it.
Every single time.
Exactly right.
That was really, really good for NL just then. They not only managed to get Dragon, they not only managed to get Tower, but they also picked up 2 kills from that.
Yeah,
as well.
and not only that,
really going to put them ahead.
they also got the first blood tower gold. So, you know, on top of that as well, they get that Kayle picked up a tower, but it wasn't enough. Now, we do see a teleport coming in from the blue team, from Kayle. She's going to come down and try to do something against this Ezreal. Does he have his E up? He does not, and he goes down, actually. So, yeah, as we can see, you know, we can see that they're all trying to go in. They're trying to do something here to just try to get themselves back, and they did manage to pick up 2 kills, which is very important. Now, even though they've picked up the 2 kills, there's still a K gold difference between the 2 teams. They're going to try and push bot here. They're probably going to be able to get the tower. We're just going to have to see where it goes from here.
I reckon they'll probably take this tower. Oh, Gragas may come down. There's the Ezreal.
So yeah, as we can see, Nautilus is top. He's probably going to try to pressure this tower while Kayle's bot. You know, if they do get that, it is just going to be tower for tower. But at the end of the day, you know, NL did still manage to pick up that first blood tower gold. So they're not going to be... And the dragon. So they're not going to be too worried. Gold's pretty equal now, but once that top tower does go down, you know, things might change. But it's going to be pretty hard for this Nautilus to really get this tower because he's a Nautilus.
Yeah, for sure. He does not have as much sieging capabilities as Kayle.
And now it looks like Orianna's going top and Kayle is coming top 2. They might try to do something, but Ezreal's actually coming up for NL top 2, so they're probably going to try to force this tower down. And we can see there's 2 in mid, so nothing's happening in the bot lane at the moment.
Ezreal's up there now as well.
Now they're trying to pressure. Now, IGO is having 4 mid. They're having the bot lane, the jungler, and the mid while they're leaving Kayle up top. And that's allowing Ezreal to get some solid poke off. They might be able to get the kill. No, they won't. Maybe
there's the ult.
Maybe if Ezreal had his ultimate, they might have, if they did it in time and predicted when the Kayle ult would be, but unfortunately not.
But even then, they still managed to pop off.
Now there's a lot of damage onto the Jhin, and the knockup goes down on the Ryze. Ryze gets the flash Q, picks up the kill, and Ali's ult goes down. They can't do anything about it, but they do manage to pick up another kill. And now there's a skirmish in top lane.
Yep.
Ezreal's now got his ult up, deals some significant damage to that Kayle, and we see in mid lane, Gragas getting stunned. Sorry, not stunned. He's just standing there waiting for something to happen. And now it looks like, you know, top lane's going to be a little bit of undecided what's happening. Will they get the tower? Are they going to defend?
They're definitely fighting over the objectives right now.
And Alistair doesn't have his ult, so he needs to be careful. If he gets snared again by this Ryze, he could be in a bit of trouble. Even though Ryze does not have a lot of mana, will they be able to pick up the tower, though? We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. Just from top lane as well. They're aiming for the same thing. And I was definitely trying to push these objectives, trying to get back push them further back as much as they can.
Yeah. Now, in goes Gragas trying to do something, but back comes the Jhin ult. Jhin is trying to cause a pick. That slow is very strong, but it's not going to do anything.
They've got the full NL team now.
Unfortunately, it's not going to do anything. Alistair's getting caught out, actually. He comes in for the knockup, gets the Courage of the Colossus Shield, flashes out, and he does manage to die. The Gragas ult led him to die. Lee Sin flash over the wall, gets out. However, Gragas is low. Gragas has no mana. He smites to get some health back. They're going still in. And they manage to get a kill on the Karma. The strong Kayle E, along with the Orianna, picks up a kill on them. Now, what's going to happen from here?
Really low right now, whereas IGO have got quite a lot of health left.
Exactly right.
They're probably going to take that mid tower.
So yeah, they are going to pressure the mid, and they're going to pick up the tower.
Yeah, they're definitely going to pick that.
Now, are they going to rotate to Herald? Because that will be very strong on Kayle. It would also be strong on the Jhin as well, because he's like that last bullet with a Herald shot would be so strong and devastating. Unexpected damage as well.
I think Kayle may try and go for it now.
Yeah, no, they do need two people to go for it. But Dragon is coming up soon, so I think they're going to try to set up for this Dragon. And if NL pick this Dragon up as well, you know, when that Elder Dragon comes up, they're going to be in a very favourable position if they can manage to pick it off. Will they go for another steal?
Jin's really low. Surprised he hasn't backed. He has no mana either.
Yeah, he just wants to push the wave and then try to back. He's probably saving for something. So we can see, you know, Ezreal has 3 kills. But at the same time, Jhin is 20 CS ahead, which is a lot. You look at the differences between all the lanes, you know, Kayle's out farming, which was to be expected, you know. In the early, she's getting hurt.
Ahead of Nord as well.
Yeah, she has a lot of AoE. She is able to push very easily. As long as she stayed relevant, it was pretty expected she's going to get to this point. She's building attack speed now. You look at
NL's going to try and go for the Dragon.
Yeah, and this is an Infernal, so this is a very important one. This is probably the most highly contested Dragon out of all of them. If NL do get this, it's going to be huge, but will Lee Sin be able to steal it? We just have to wait and see. And no, unfortunately not.
And someone...
But the Herald did go down due to the Baron coming up. Now they're going to go in. Will they be able to pick something up here? Alistair goes in to get all of them, but will they be able to be made? There goes the Jhin ult. The Jhin ult goes down. Red team's trying to do something here. They're trying to get the Alistair. It does not work. The Orianna ult. The Orianna ult messes them up very hard, but they still manage to get the Alistair. They try to focus him down on the ult. Probably not the best decision because Ori was able to come in and just ult them all. She doesn't have ult now. Lee Sin goes in. Karma flashes into the snare. She gets snared. Will she be able to make it out? And in goes Gragas to save his teammates, and comes Ryze, and Lee Sin actually goes in to die. This Ryze is doing a lot. He's doing a lot right now. Will he be able to pick something? He's activated his ghost. He's going in. He will... Oh, he does not pick up a kill on Jhin because Jhin has the ult, but Jhin will... Jhin will go down now. And that was looking... That was looking very favourable for the blue team, actually. When Orianna ulted.
Yeah, that was an amazing Oriole.
But unfortunately, you know, the turnarounds, Lee Sin went in, was not favourable. And there goes a flash. Will they get this Orianna? Yes, they will. And they pick up an ace. Oh, no, they don't. Sorry, the Alistair's still up. But they do manage to get a few of them down. And, you know, it's very hard for IGO right now. There's not a lot they can do. Karma's tanking. They will pick up a kill on the Alistair.
Alistar's down as well.
And they're probably going to be able to get this turret as well.
As his down bot, just chilling.
And here comes Lee Sin, being able to stop it. He does go for the smite Q. And it's going to force NL to back out.
Surprised he didn't go for the cleanup.
Now I can see the difference in gold is a 4k difference, 3.5k difference actually. You look at it, you know, the 6 kills up for NL. They might be able to, you know, push this lead super hard because this time it's Ryze. Ryze has most of the gold on their team. He's got a lot of farm. He's got a lot of kills. He doesn't have any deaths, so, you know, getting a shutdown on him is very important. He did go, pardon me, for that late game build. He's got the tier. He's got the Root of Ages. It's now an Archangel Staff. He is getting ready to, you know, just propel himself further and further into this game. If he gets blue buff, you know, there's not going to be a lot that IGO can do from this.
They've got vision on Baron now that it's live, and so there's probably going to be a few plays and skirmishes set around Baron now as well.
Now we know that both of these junglers are good at doing steals, so will they be able to do a steal sometime?
We'll see.
Now, a smart play by NL actually is they saw that they were in Baron Pit trying to take their wards. So they hit the Baron, and by doing that, Baron forces IGO out. Now there goes the Oriana. Oh, it does deal a lot of damage. Karma just lives. Just barely is, but that means no Oriana. Oh, Oriana gets ulted into their team. She's getting a lot of damage put onto her, but she sits back. Oh, and there goes the Kale, helping them a lot, actually. Now the Rise is just dealing so much damage. Picks up a double kill on both their carries. Down goes the Oriana. There's a quadra kill. Not by all of them, but 4 of them go down. And there's the ace. Now, unfortunately,
you reckon Baron or?
I think they're going to push mid. I feel like they're going to push mid. It's the safe thing. I mean, Baron is safe right now, but if one of them does get it, they're just going to get that and probably rotate back up to Baron.
Yeah,
no, actually, they're going to keep pushing. Now, the thing as well with this is it's just like, they've got the 2 dragons. They've got the same amount of towers, so they're going to get another one now. Probably an inhib as well.
Maybe inhib too.
But the thing is, Ezreal's got red buff again. That Rise was able to come in. He was able to just sneak in from the side, just do a lot of damage, and even with the KO, it didn't matter. He just swapped targets. And unfortunately, I don't know what the blue team can do at this very moment. They're going to have to turtle, try to get their gold up, try to stop a Baron. If they could get Baron, if they could do a Baron steal, it might be able to turn in their favour. We're just going to have to wait and see, because it looks like Red Team now, if they're going to pressure this Baron, because there's nothing that this blue team can do to stop it without losing something.
And on top of that, they're all still pretty high, so like,
yeah.
Their lowest is Gragas at the
Now
moment.
in comes the Rise ult, but he does cancel it. And they do get the Baron. And then now Alistair's getting caught. Alistair does get caught. They can continue to push now. With the super minions that are mid, they can continue to push. And they could probably get a Nexus turret, because it's going to be a 4v5 with Baron. They are ahead. Top lane has not gone down at all, but it does not need to.
Doesn't need to. I reckon they're just going to go straight down through mid.
Yep. Now, Rice isn't with their team, so it is a 4v4 at the moment, but they do have the Barons. They're going to be pressure. Ezreal comes in with the poke, and they get the catch on the Lee Sin. Lee Sin goes down. Now, as we can see here, they're just going to be able to pressure. They're going to be able to sit in here and pressure with Baron. They're just going to, if they keep funneling in, if IGO keeps funneling in and losing one by one, they're not going to be able to do anything. They're going to have to go all in and push something. Lawless is backing though, so is Gragas. Looks like they're not going to push this advantage anymore. They're going to back off, see what they can do. They're going to heal back up, get their items, and try to push their advantage.
I think not being overzealous at the moment is probably the safer bet.
Exactly right.
Instead of playing something risky, doing the safe win probably better for them. Now, looks like there's a skirmish up in top lane.
So they did manage to get the tower, and then goes the flash.
Rise.
The Rise manages to flash out of the alley ult and into the KO. It was very well played.
Kale.
They get the kill on KO. They also get the KO ulti.
Rise is doing so much damage, bro.
So they're probably going to look to get the top inhib now.
Top inhib.
Karma isn't with them, but one thing that they could do is after they get this, they can possibly rotate to get that dragon, but it doesn't look like they'll need to at the moment. Kale isn't up. They've got Baron. They're probably going to be able to get an inhib here and then just do whatever they want. They've got so much map control, so much of a gold lead, so much of a tower lead, and even a dragon lead as well. Like, NL are in a very, very good spot right now.
They are indeed. There's not too much I can think that IGO can do to kind of get back.
Now, Ali does get pulled. He does get chunked down. He activates his ult and tries to go in to try to make a pick here, but I'm not sure if he can do anything. Lee Sin goes, ults the Ezreal back in. Now, there goes the Gragas ult. Doesn't hit anything. Nautilus is doing it. Ezreal, he shifts over the wall, gets the damage done, and down goes the damage on their team. Jin just makes it out. And they do get the Oriana, though. They do get the Oriana. And their Nexus Tower is pretty low. Kale activates the ult. Will they be able to kill her? They will be able to take her down.
These are going to be the Nexus Towers.
And in comes Ali trying to do something. It doesn't look like IGO can do much here. They funneled in. They're all dead. It looks like NL will pick up the final win for the tournament. They will win the Potato Cup. And they will be crowned Potato Cup champions.
This is it. Ladies and gentlemen. NL. Well, I think they're just... Oh, no. They're not doing the win.
And there we go. A short game to conclude the final series of the tournament.
Congratulations to NL for the final win. So that's 2 victories to NL.
The first game was pretty close.
It was.
There was a lot of chances that IGO had where they could, just come through, try to get a pick, try to catch them before NL went to Baron.
Yeah.
They had a few very, very close spots, but the problem is the vision wasn't there. They didn't know they were split up. They didn't know where they were. They couldn't go for it and risk it. But if they had a bit more vision, if their vision wasn't cleared out as much, they might have been able to do something there. At the same time as well, the second game, that early death from Lee Sin, although it was like they were really trying to get a lead, but unfortunately it didn't pay off. Ezreal got that red buff, but as harmful as it seemed because of the fact that Jin stayed high in CS, he did go for his build, but unfortunately the Ezreal just managed to get his tier stacked. He got his tier early as well, which means he stacks it faster.
Yep.
The Ryze being able to come in from the height and just
deal
sweep.
so much damage.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like, the Ryze definitely did a lot in that game.
Yep.
And even the Gragas did very well. The Dragon Steal that he did.
That was awesome.
Coming in with the ult, and even the support did well. Yep. They all played very well, and even IGO played very well. But it was just a series of unfortunate events that kept happening, kept getting caught. But they did very well, and from that, they've won. They're now the Potato Cup champions.
That's it. Congratulations to NL for taking the championship of Potato Cup.
Also, thank you to IGO. They came runner-up. They did try very well. They didn't do very bad. We do want to say thank you for everyone that played. We hope that you enjoyed this experience, and we hope to see you again soon.
And once again, thank you so much for being a part and supporting our whole tournament. Thanks heaps for that. We have a competition on our Facebook page. All you need to do is like and comment on the status that says competition, and you can go in the running for some RP to get a couple of skins during Christmas time. Once again, thanks so much for helping us all out, and we'll catch you guys again soon. This is Franco601 and Brody signing off.